YouTube, what's good? Salutations. Um, welcome back to another day of infinite possibilities. Welcome back to the LREIP YouTube channel. Folks, it's for everybody here. Got a question. In my social media trolling, as I typically do, came across another social media driven controversial relationship type question. I want to know what y'all think. When you get into a new relationship, or I guess even a new prospective relationship, do you ask your partner, male or female, how many previous partners they've had before you? It's a preference thing. I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I've always asked any prospective partner of mine early on, in those talking stages, how many previous partners they've had. Do that for a few reasons. It serves a multitude of purposes to me. First thing is, I always want to know, I'm a big conversationalist. I'm a big talker, communicator. Anybody who I would want to spend valuable time that I can't get back out of my life with, I want to make sure that they are, one, open to honest discussion, willing to have, uncomfortable discussions about situations that pertain to their past and their personal experiences, but also it's a good indication to when you're starting a new relationship. What a lot of people don't realize is it's like a chess game. It's you're courting another person, they're courting you, but at the same time you're reading that person. You're trying to figure out what your risk is. It's like a win-loss type of thing. You want to get into a relationship where you're going to take a bunch of L's throughout that relationship, or you want to set yourself up and set that board up. If you look at that relationship as a chessboard, you want to set that board up for the best moves going forward. And I think you're at your best advantage to see the whole board and see all the potential, pitfalls, win-loss types of scenarios before you're too deep into that game where there's really no going back. Anybody who's not willing to, you can't be 100% sure. You ask a person that type of question, that they're going to be honest with you 100%. A lot of people probably wouldn't be, and then there's a lot of people that would. But the red flags is not whether or not the person is honest about that question, because you're never going to know. There's really no way to know. The red flag is that person willing to have that discussion with you. And then, if not, what are the reasons that they're citing for why they're not willing to have that discussion with you? Because that's a big red flag indicator too. Person says shit like, that doesn't really matter, or I don't remember, or I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of shit don't typically fly with me. People have a general idea about how many people they've been with in a relationship. And for someone who does know the exact number, even if you feel that number is a little high, that should at least be an indication to you that that person takes that sort of adult activity seriously, that they would know the exact number. You know what I'm saying? Especially, and at our age group, as we get older, the over 30 crowd. For you to still know the exact number of men or women that you've interacted with in that way, I think is definitely an indication. Whether the other person feels that number is high, I think it's definitely an indication that that's important enough to you that you haven't lost that count. You know what I'm saying? Plus, another indication for possible fallout later on in the relationship is if a person is not willing to be open and honest with you in the earlier stages about something that has nothing to do with them and you in that relationship, strictly about their past before they knew you. If you're not willing to be honest with the person you claim to want to spend and share your time with at that stage in the relationship, then that person should be weary of your willingness to participate and want to be open and honest about things that happen during the course of that relationship that actually do affect that other person directly. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take, man. I think it's important for people to have more discussions, open discussions early on in the relationship, especially as it pertains to previous partners. You know, it's an icebreaker for me. It kind of gives you a little bit of a glimpse into, you know, who and what you're dealing with. This is not my position for the purpose of just counting bodies. That's not the point. That's not what I'm getting at. The point is to gauge the person that you're considering getting into this bond with, you know, and how serious they are and what their willingness is to open up with you, because it's easier, contrary to what common sense might tell you, it's actually easier to open up with someone you don't have history or emotional strings necessarily attached to yet than it is years into a relationship where there's fear that there might be a backlash for it. If you're fearing a backlash early in the relationship, then that's a good indication that you're not, and nothing's absolute, but that's a good indication that you're not the type of individual who would be willing to risk losing the relationship for the sake and purpose of being honest with your partner no matter what throughout the course of that relationship. These are my thoughts, man. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Let me know what y'all think, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and love.